There will always be people who challenge your peace, test your patience, and make you question your worth. You can't avoid them, no matter how much success you achieve or how careful you are with your circle. They come in many forms. Critics, naysayers, manipulators, or just people who seem to enjoy seeing others fall. But what defines you is never how they act, it's how you respond. When someone is difficult, the natural instinct is to match their energy, to get loud when they shout, to argue when they provoke, but that only drags you down to their level. The real strength is in restraint. The real victory is not in winning the argument, but in keeping your peace. It takes courage to be calm. It takes wisdom to be silent when provoked. And it takes true power to walk away with grace when someone is trying to pull you into their storm. Difficult people are often mirrors, reflecting their inner chaos, their insecurities, their pain. And sometimes they want you to carry it for them. But their storm does not have to become your weather. You are not obligated to absorb anyone's toxicity just because they pour it out in your direction. You can set boundaries without being cruel. You can distance yourself without guilt. And you can still be kind without being naive. It's not about being liked by everyone. It's about being respected by the right ones. You don't need validation from people who don't understand your journey. You don't owe explanations to those who refuse to listen. And you don't have to shrink yourself to make difficult people feel more comfortable. Rise above even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard, people may underestimate you, question your choices, or criticize your path. But don't let noise distract you from your voice. When someone tries to belittle your dreams, it usually means they've given up on theirs. Don't let their bitterness become your burden. You have dreams to chase. You have goals to crush. You don't have time for battles that don't matter. There are moments in life when the pressure from someone else's negativity feels overwhelming, almost like an emotional ambush. You walk into a room with calm intentions, only to be met with sarcasm, rudeness, or unjust criticism. It stings and your instincts scream for a reaction, to shout back, to defend yourself, to fire off words that hit just as hard. But it's in that very moment of emotional chaos where your character is truly measured. Because what you choose to do next says everything about your strength. You can either be pulled into their storm or remain rooted in your peace. Responding to difficult people with anger might feel powerful in the moment, but it rarely leaves you with dignity. Emotional reactions are often impulsive, and they give the other person control over your mood, your decisions, even your day. But when you pause, when you breathe and think before you speak, you're reclaiming that control. That pause is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the realization that you are the master of your emotions, and no one else gets to dictate how you feel or who you become in the heat of the moment. Every encounter with a difficult person is an invitation. It invites you to either match their energy or elevate yours. You can answer that invitation by lowering your standards and responding in kind, or you can rise above and show what true discipline looks like. Being calm in the face of chaos is one of the rarest and most powerful qualities a person can have. Anyone can argue, but very few can stay composed when provoked. That composure, that grace under fire, becomes your legacy. It becomes the thing that sets you apart from those who only know how to survive through noise. Your response isn't just about that one moment. It echoes beyond the immediate. It builds or breaks trust. It creates or erodes respect. And it strengthens or weakens your personal brand. People may not remember every word you said, but they'll remember how you handled pressure. Were you composed or chaotic? Did you escalate or defuse? These moments shape how others see you. But more importantly, they shape how you see yourself. Every time you respond with wisdom over emotion, you grow stronger. You feel more in control of your destiny. And here's the truth. Difficult people are not going away. They exist in every workplace, every family, every community. You will meet them again and again, and sometimes they'll catch you off guard. But once you understand that your reaction is the only thing you truly control, you step into real power. You stop being tossed around by other people's moods and expectations. You stop letting someone's bitterness interrupt your joy. Instead, you become unshakable, grounded in who you are, and determined not to let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. There is a quiet power in choosing grace when aggression is expected, a deep strength in pausing instead of exploding, and a profound maturity in refusing to let someone's chaos become your identity. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what they said or did. It's about how you chose to handle it. That choice is yours, and it defines you far more than the noise around you ever could. There comes a time when you realize that peace isn't something handed to you, it's something you protect with intention. It's easy to absorb the weight of other people's emotions, especially when you care or feel obligated to keep the peace. But the truth is, constantly carrying other people's negativity begins to dim your light. It's not noble to burn out trying to fix someone else's storm. Your energy is your most valuable asset, and not everyone deserves access to it. You must learn to shield it like a treasure, because once it's drained, everything else, your joy, your focus, your ambitions, suffers. Been conditioned to believe that setting boundaries is selfish, that saying no is rude, or that walking away means you're weak. But setting boundaries isn't pushing people away. It's preserving your sanity. It's recognizing that your mental space is sacred and you have every right to protect it from toxic behaviors, manipulative conversations, and emotional chaos. Boundaries aren't walls, they're doors you get to control. And just like you wouldn't let just anyone walk into your home uninvited, you shouldn't allow anyone to step freely into your emotional world without respect. Sometimes people will try to make you feel guilty for creating distance. They'll call you cold, distant, or selfish. That's because they were benefiting from your lack of boundaries. They were comfortable dumping their emotions onto you, knowing you'd always be there to absorb it. But your job is not to be someone's emotional landfill. You are not here to carry the weight of others who refuse to do the work to carry themselves. You are here to grow, to thrive, to elevate, and none of that can happen if you're constantly drained by others' negativity. Boundaries are the ultimate form of self-respect. When you say, "This is where I end and you begin," you're drawing a line that protects your identity, your energy, and your dreams. You're reminding yourself that your peace is not negotiable, that you don't need to explain why you won't tolerate toxic behavior, why you won't argue endlessly, or why you refuse to participate in cycles of dysfunction. You're not being difficult, you're being clear. And clarity is a gift not only to yourself, but also to those who truly respect you. There's a difference between empathy and enmeshment. You can care about someone without letting their chaos consume you. You can be supportive without sacrificing your peace. The idea that love means complete self-abandonment is a dangerous myth. Real love respects boundaries. Real connections honor your limits. And if someone can't handle your boundaries, it reveals more about them than it does about you. Your growth will make some people uncomfortable. Let it, because your job is not to stay small for others' comfort. It's to become all you were meant to be. The people who truly value you won't make you feel bad for taking care of yourself. They'll understand when you need space. They'll respect your silence. They'll accept that your peace matters. And in time, you'll see that protecting your energy doesn't just preserve your well-being, attracts the kind of relationships that make you feel seen, supported, and whole. The more you protect your energy and set boundaries, the more powerfully you begin to live. Because only then do you stop surviving for others and start thriving for yourself. There will always be moments when someone says something that rubs you the wrong way, when an insult is thrown or your ideas are dismissed. In that moment, the urge to defend yourself, to clap back, to prove your worth through confrontation can feel almost irresistible. But that's exactly when you must ask yourself, what am I choosing right now? Am I choosing to grow? Or am I getting pulled into something that will only distract me from the bigger picture? Because not every battle is meant to be fought, and certainly not all of them are worth your time, energy, or peace. Conflict is tempting because it feels immediate. It gives the illusion of control, of standing your ground, of claiming your space. But growth is quieter, it's slow, patient, and often invisible in the moment. When you choose growth, you're not choosing silence out of weakness, you're choosing direction over distraction. You're choosing to invest in something that builds you up instead of draining you. And even though you may not win the argument or silence the critics right away, you win something greater: your focus, your integrity, and your ability to keep moving forward. Drama will always be available. There will always be someone ready to stir conflict, to pull you into a loop of petty words and pointless ego battles. But you have to rise above it. You have to see that getting dragged into conflict doesn't prove your strength. It limits your progress. Every minute spent in drama is a minute stolen from your dreams. And when you realize that your time is more valuable than your pride, you begin to let go of battles that serve no purpose. Your vision becomes your filter, and anything that doesn't align with it no longer gets your attention. The most powerful people aren't the loudest. They're the ones whose results speak for them. Let your work do the talking. Let your consistency drown out the noise. While others are caught up in proving a point, you'll be busy building something they can't deny. That's the beauty of growth. It may not be flashy in the beginning, but over time it becomes undeniable. And the more you focus on your own journey, the less interested you become in who's doting you, who's gossiping, or who's trying to bring you down. Because you're too busy rising, you don't owe everyone a response. Silence, when used with wisdom, is a powerful tool. It says, I've outgrown this kind of chaos. It says, I don't need to participate to prove who I am. It says, I choose my future over this fleeting moment. And that is growth. That is discipline. That is knowing who you are so deeply that you don't need to be validated through conflict. You'd rather put your head down, do the work, and let your life become the loudest thing about you. Every time you walk away from drama to protect your peace, you take a step forward. Every time you choose not to argue but to build, you rise. And every time you resist the pull of ego in favor of elevation, you grow. That is how progress is made, not in proving you're right, but in proving you're focused. Your growth will make the noise irrelevant. So keep building, keep evolving, and let those who tried to pull you down watch you soar from below. There are times in life when no matter how clearly you speak, how kindly you explain, or how genuinely you try to connect, some people will simply not hear you. They're not listening to understand, they're listening to argue, to twist your words, to challenge your worth. It's in those moments that grace and silence become your greatest allies. Not every accusation deserves a defense. Not every misunderstanding needs a response. Sometimes most powerful thing you do is say nothing at all and let your calm speak volumes. Grace isn't about letting people walk over you. It's about knowing you don't need to shout to be strong. It's standing tall in the face of provocation, choosing not to throw back the same stones that were hurled at you. When someone is committed to misunderstanding you, your explanations become fuel to their fire. They're not looking for resolution, they're looking for reaction. But when you respond with grace, when you meet chaos with composure, you disarm their power and reclaim your own. You remind yourself that peace isn't found in proving yourself. It's found in knowing yourself. Silence, when rooted in confidence, is not weakness. It's command. It's choosing not to be drawn into a game where the rules are rigged against you. It's the strength to hold your ground without needing to defend every step. Because if someone is determined to see you a certain way, no amount of explanation will change their lens. At some point, you must stop talking and start walking. Walking forward, walking upward, walking away from what doesn't serve your growth. Your silence is not retreat, it's a boundary. There's elegance in silence, a kind of poise that speaks louder than any words ever could. It shows that you're not here to engage in battles that shrink you, that you don't need to be louder than the lies. You just need to keep being real. People will say what they want. Let them. Time reveals truth far better than arguments ever will. And when the dust settles, it's not the one who shouted the loudest who wins. It's the one who stayed true without needing to perform. You will encounter people who thrive on confrontation, people who feel validated only when they've pulled someone else down to their level. But you weren't made to shrink for their comfort. You were made to rise. And rising doesn't always mean speaking louder. It sometimes means staying silent while you work, while you grow, while you evolve. Let them wonder, let them guess. Let your silence be the space where your power builds and your purpose clarifies, because not everything needs a response. Some things just need to be outgrown. And in the end, the person who walks away with grace is the one remembered, not for the words they said in anger, but for the strength they showed in restraint. When you master the art of silent dignity, you free yourself from the need to constantly explain or justify. You stop performing and start preserving. Because your energy is not for those who choose conflict over understanding. It's for building a life so full, so grounded, and so radiant that silence becomes your most eloquent answer. It's easy to see difficult people as obstacles, brick walls standing between you and your peace. But what if they're not roadblocks at all? What if they're the very tools life is using to shape your greatness? Every challenge they present, every comment that tests your patience, every interaction that stretches your tolerance, is actually preparing you for something bigger. Life doesn't only grow you in comfort, it grows you in discomfort. And the people who frustrate you the most might be the very ones helping you become stronger, wiser, and more emotionally grounded. Greatness isn't just about talent or ambition, it's about character. It's how you handle adversity, how you react when things don't go your way, and how you deal with people who push your buttons. Difficult people are like emotional training weights. They help you build mental strength, emotional intelligence, and the kind of patience that leadership requires. Anyone can stay calm in ideal conditions, but true strength is revealed in chaos. When you can respond to pressure with clarity and grace, you're becoming the version of yourself that's equipped for success. Think of every frustrating encounter as a lesson in self-control. That person who constantly interrupts you, they're teaching you how to listen to your own voice more clearly. That colleague who always criticizes you, they're sharpening your focus and pushing you to double down on your purpose. That friend who constantly drains your energy, they're showing you the importance of boundaries. These experiences, though painful, are not punishments, they're preparation. They're crafting you into someone who can stand tall no matter the storm. It's not about avoiding difficulty, it's about learning to extract growth from it. The most successful people in the world weren't spared from difficult relationships or tough environments. What set them apart was their ability to turn tension to transformation. They didn't let challenging people define them, they let those people refine them. With every difficult moment, they gained another layer of resilience, another level of emotional maturity, another reason to keep showing up and rising higher. When you change the way you see difficult people, you change the power they have over you. They're no longer threats to your peace. They're opportunities for growth. Instead of reacting with frustration, you begin to respond with understanding. You start to see the bigger picture. You stop getting trapped in petty battles and instead focus on mastering yourself. Because in the end, the real challenge isn't them, it's how you choose to evolve through them. And every time you rise above instead of sink below, you're leveling up in ways you'll one day be grateful for. So when someone challenges you, remember this is your training. This is life sculpting you for greatness, stretching your capacity and refining your leadership. It's not easy and it's not always fair, but it's purposeful. Difficult people are not mistakes on your path. They are the path. And with every test they bring, you get a chance to become more of who you're meant to be. Let them be the mirror that shows you how far you've come and how far you're willing to go to become unstoppable.